So what I found in this last year of doing this now and getting the book out and blogs out and content out and teaching some courses and selling an online course to hundreds of people is I've gotten a lot of feedback back. And what I found is that where a lot of problems happen in marriages when it comes to money, and not necessarily this group maybe as much, but in general, I said this early on, but it's in money proficiency. We don't have the same background with money. So all we can come to the money table with is our beliefs and our feelings without any sort of grounding, any sort of fundamentals, any sort of rock solid knowledge. So we just work from a place of feelings. It's usually dysfunctional because we inherited that neurosis, that money neurosis and dysfunction from our parents, and we apply it because that's all we know. So that's what I found is that how we really solve this is have a same money proficiency, but we have to go learn it. We have to take time out and learn, and it's what most of us don't do. So the goal as couples is to have a rock solid money proficiency, a money understanding, a base knowledge. And it doesn't have to be expert knowledge. It's just the understanding of the fundamentals and how money works. And I'm going to describe my money system in the process section tomorrow. So money proficiency, what happens is that when we don't have a money proficiency, money can be a real power play in a relationship. So the power play can really hurt relationships, and let alone the feelings and this other thing. But money's power. Money, it can really throw a marriage out of balance. And so if one person's the only money earner and we don't have an equal understanding with money, out of balance. Now, marriages that are out of balance and power balance, what happens? It usually doesn't set us up for the best marriage. But it doesn't matter who makes the most money when we have a same proficiency, and I'll explain why, that the proficiency is what balances out. So what's happened also in this last year is I have a lot of women, because sort of a lot of my target is successful women, or women, just great women, right, that are very, or after living a good life. And so some of the women would say, I out-earn my husband, and it causes a lot of problems. And so that's been something to tackle. And then we've had issues like Gary and I are a mixed family. Like he's dad number 2 to my children. And so how does that whole thing work? Where his kids and my kids and your kids and slipping money to the kids. There can be all sort of these power elements, especially with blended families that work, that can fit in here. So this money thing can really get complicated with all these family dynamics. And what I believe is the only way to keep this in balance and in check is 2 things, is with this money, like all the other pieces we've already worked on, but really to gain a similar money understanding. So we have the same framework, and then we have a process that we follow the same, which will be tomorrow. But proficiency is the balance. And how proficiency really works is we need to understand the fundamentals. We need to become educated. I'm going to teach some of the fundamentals tomorrow. A lot of us already know these. But we need a fundamental understanding of what money is, how it operates, the difference between income and wealth, what net worth is, assets, how we do our books, the pact or process, blah, 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 all day tomorrow. That's what we're going to do most of the day. So that's the proficiency piece, is to learn that. But what happens is that, let's say there are 2 incomes. And let's say one income is 4 times more than the other partner's income. This can throw it out of balance, right? Because if we associate a lot of power in the relationship with money, we just know how that can go. Or maybe one of us don't work. We don't work. So that can be a real power issue when one person's earning all the money. Or sometimes in the case, especially when it's sort of a flip dynamic and it's a little untraditional with the wife far out earning the man. So it can keep this balance. So how we balance it is through the money process. But when we gain this money proficiency, we don't care who earns the money. We don't care if one earns more than the other. We don't care if one earns all the money and the other doesn't. This is our money knowledge. This is our knowledge of how money works. And this is sort of our practice, or like the process of how we work with money. So when we're on the same page for this, it doesn't matter. The more money sources, the better. Mine, yours, create additional income streams. We'll talk more about all that tomorrow, because it all comes out to help you and me live our wealthy life together. So when we're in it together and we know that we know where we're going and what we want to do with our money, and we can talk the same money language, the basics, nothing, no expert. Joe can talk this VC world, and he says these, investment things, and I'm clueless. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll nod my head and pretend I understand you. So money can, go very high level, and there's certain expertise there, but we don't care about that in our relationships, and it doesn't care if even one of us is at that level. We just need this base platform of knowledge. And it's an obligation for us to learn this together and to have the same sort of distinctions and just really, I guess, the knowledge base. Because then when we have that, we put the money in, and it comes out to serve our joint 7 Fs, our wealthy. So that's just it, and that's how it keeps it an equalizer. It's how it keeps it balanced. So in Gary and my, in our lives together, I've been the primary wage earner and been the big money earner, and then right now it's flip-flopped because I'm a startup and I'm not really bringing much money to the table, if any. So now he's really that. But it doesn't matter. Like, we don't even care who makes more money, because it's like, babe, bring more in, because that just means we're coming out. And when it flip-flops and this baby takes off and that's the goal, he's going to be the first thing. So it's just more going in, and we've got this system worked out, and it's all going to fund what? It's all going to fund our other 6 Fs. So that's the equalizer. Proficiency is the equalizer, but we have to learn together. And one of us can't go off and learn by ourselves and try to explain it to the other, because I don't know about your marriage, but that doesn't work very well in mine, right? But it works really well when we study this together and work together. So that's money proficiency. So on page 23, the idea there is to talk with each other, to get on the same page, is to educate ourselves together, which is why you're here, and to talk about one thing that is good, and part of the exercise here is that most of us all feel some sort of lack of confidence with money. Many times, many of us as women, because we just haven't had a lot of history there. But maybe both of us. But it's like, where do we feel incompetent, or where do we feel like we just feel more that we need more knowledge, or we feel like we're not able to really add that much? So that's exercise number 1. Number 2 is what are your roles with money? So the great thing about the couples, when you get this money thing down, is having 2 opposites. So like I said, I'm more the visionary, I'm more the planner, and create sort of the direction and the purpose and the vision. And he's in the spreadsheets. He's working the numbers. He's working all those things out. And we need each other. Because the last thing I want to do is be in those frickin' spreadsheets, like I said, and be in those numbers. And he's brilliant at that. And he's really good at coming off my vision and turning that into these spreadsheets. So it's really then determining the role. And what it sets it up too, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, it makes it okay that, John, you're the saver and I'm the spender. So because that's an equal balance, and we'll find out tomorrow why, but that way it's like, okay, you're the saver, and it's all about balance. Because if you just all save and never spend, that's a problem, right? Do we know people like that? But if we spend everything and never save, that can be a problem. So this is about the balance, the equalizer. The money proficiency is the balance.